Twins blow game one to Cleveland with another late inning collapse. Heartbreaker. Final score 4-3. We're breaking it all down next on the Locked On Twins postcast.
You are Locked On Twins postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Turn that mic on, huh? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. That's the man, Theo Tollefson. Give him a follow on X, at Theodore_Tollef1. He's a Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. And Theo, before we jump into all the action from tonight, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. Okay, game one versus Cleveland, hanging on to that 6th seed just really by a thread right now. Pablo on the mound. Pablo was everything you wanted. I mean, he kept them in it. He chewed up some innings. That was massive. 6 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks, 92 pitches. They gave him some run support early on. They got up 3-0. Buxton had 2 RBIs. That was nice to see. 7th inning, Pablo gets in a jam. It's 3-2. You bring in Griffin Jax. He mows down to the order. You get out of there kind of unscathed. You can take a deep breath. Still up 1. Next inning, though, bam, 2-run homer off Griffin Jax of all people, Mr. Reliable. Twins once again, just kind of zero life in the lineup. 3 runs, man. That's just so weak. That's what I'm sick of. The offensive patheticness. I don't even know if that's a word. That's the real story here. Twins lose game 1. Let's talk about Pablo here in a minute. But Theo, just, first to start, your biggest takeaways, kind of your A topics from tonight's blown win. Oh, Theo's muted as well here.
We're having such a hard time.
Glad it wasn't me. Glad it wasn't.
Yeah, no, seriously. Going 2 for 9 with the runners in scoring position tonight is what cost them. That was a huge difference maker there. So the fact that they are 2 for 9, didn't have a single hit after the 5th inning,
wow,
that was just costly. I mean, the offense just fell asleep after that. And it's good to see Buxton playing as well as he is while hurt, and same with Correa getting a hit and a couple walks. But that's just not enough for those two to be back to be like, all right, let's do this and win this by 3 runs. Well, that dwindled down to losing by 1. So, yeah, everyone else who is looking a little more tired is still looking that way. And there's only so much Buxton and Correa can do on their own coming back into this lineup. And the rest of the guys need to show up and do the same thing.
Yeah, 3 runs. I don't care what pitcher, even if it's Pablo Day. 3 runs, man. It's just not enough. Let's flesh it out. Let's put it all on the table. Let's call a spade. Let's just try to hash this out. What is your least favorite thing about this team right now? Because they got everybody back, Correa, Buxton, etc. And yet, they still show no fight, at least offensively anyways. So those rookies in the back end of the rotation, kind of bigger picture here. For all intents and purposes, by the way, I think – given the part that they were put in, this tough situation they've been thrown into, they've just completely ran out of gas as well. They kind of treaded water as long as they could, but they're losing their steam. There's a million things I feel like you could pick out. But Theo, what is your biggest gripe with this Minnesota Twins team right now with 12 games to go?
I think the thing that's been bothering me over the last month the most is just how the lineup is not, doing its part to balance out the load of what is with this bullpen. And they're losing everything too. So, I mean, as I've been saying, it feels like it's just a broken record at this point. It's just the pitching rotations doing what they can with the starters. They're doing their part. They're showing up. And, these rookies are reaching career highs in innings and their workload. So, of course, they're going to be imploding a little bit more, entering this uncharted territory. But you would think, even without Correa and Buxton in this time frame, guys like Lewis, Miranda, I mean, Lee, even as a rookie with all the hype around him, he would have stepped him up. And he did yesterday, which was a good thing. But, I mean, it seems like the only guy who's been keeping things consistent at the plate is Carlos Santana in this entire time. He's the only one who's been absolutely dependable because earlier in this game, there were a couple hits right to him on the first base side, especially when Jax got out of that 7th inning and really prevented this from getting any worse. I mean, this season would be so much different if he was not at first base for sure. So I think everything really falls on him, and he needs to deserve a lot more credit. And I know a couple of weeks ago we were looking at the Athletic power rankings, and somehow Julian was a month-long MVP. I think we can easily argue Carlos Santana should have had that instead.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely should have at least been in the mix for sure. Top 2 discussion for sure. I mean, again, the injuries, we talked about the injuries a lot, especially in the second half of the season. The injuries absolutely decimated this team for a big chunk of the season. And I hate coming on here and blaming injuries because every team in the league's got them right now, especially on September 16th. But what I think you can blame here is the fact that this front office went out and got you zero resources, both in the offseason and at the deadline, to kind of help replenish some of those woes, some of those weaknesses, right? And I think that's a more than warranted complaint, is it not? Because everybody's got injuries. Yes, the Twins really seem to get hammered this year by them more so than other teams, but sitting here on September 16th, it just doesn't feel like they've got the manpower or they've got the horses in this race to get hot, kind of like Texas. Everybody wants to bring up what Texas did last year and get hot and go on a run. Am I wrong now that Correa and Buxton are back? Because it's more pitching for me than anything, as far as, again, those young pups just kind of slowing down. But more just big picture. Do they even have the manpower to get hot and go on a run like Texas did last year?
I think whatever manpower they had earlier in the game kind of got zapped out of them, and these next 3 games are going to be very hard after you lose one so close like this tonight.
With Pablo.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, they did pick up some pitching depth. Cole Irvin was claimed off for waivers from the Baltimore Orioles, one of their starters, a left-handed starter, the first one they're going to have in a long while in this rotation. But because he's joining the organization tomorrow, they're expecting him then. He's not going to be eligible to join the team for the postseason and be the rotation there. So I think we'll see at least a skip in the order, whether it's Woods, Richardson, Festa, or Matthews. We don't know yet, but I would assume, just with how things have been playing out, Matthews might get set down as Urban takes his spot. That might be something. I mean, that's the thing. He's going to provide something, but with everything going wrong right now, this is just, there's only so much Cole Irvin can do. It's like, okay, you give one of your rookie starters a little extra rest, but everything's feeling like too little too late, especially after this one.
Yeah, given all the things that they're just battling with and fighting with eternally, it feels like that acquisition moves the needle like zero for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take it for sure, but it just doesn't really, move the needle, or, does it get anybody excited in the fan base? I doubt it. But, I regress. Okay, so that's the bad stuff, the Debbie Downer, negative Nancy stuff. What's the one thing, I guess, that you're still kind of clinging on to here that gives you some hope, some belief that they could turn this, pumpkin into Cinderella and get hot again and go on a run? Because, hey, we see it in every sport. Chip sharing a chance. You never know. And they do have their big name dudes, the big name studs, back in the lineup. So that's got to help a little.
It helps a little bit, but there's only like I said, so much they can do. And I think realistically, this collapse is going to turn into just, poor results that we're not expecting. They're still going to be X amount of games over 500 and finish with a solid place for third place. But again, they're only finishing in third place, and it's just going to be really disappointing. And I think everyone's going to really lose their minds if Detroit's the one to pass them up and take that final wildcard spot. I think that's going to send everyone into a rage. And I think the one thing that's going to linger over them, even if they make it in, they're going to have the worst in-division record against Cleveland this year, no matter how things play out. The White Sox won more games against Cleveland than they did. And you do not want to be in the same category as the 2024 White Sox, I don't think, ever.
In any category, yeah.
Or be worse than they were in any category, and they're about to be. And that's, unless they can really just pull themselves together and win 3 out of these next 4 against Cleveland, which is not going to happen, honestly. Let's be realistic. It's that's going to be the big difference maker, because it's just I don't know how much I can keep rambling.
No, I get it. We're beating just a dead horse here this last 5-6 weeks, it feels like. One silver lining here, Pablo Day, again, 6 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned, 4 Ks, 2 walks on 92 pitches. I mean, again, when you needed a quality start the most, who are you going to call? Pablo. He really has turned into like Mr. Consistent 2023 Pablo in a lot of areas, maybe not every single aspect and criterion statistic, but these last 10, 12, 15 starts, he's really turned into that 2023 Pablo. Mr. Consistent, has he not?
Yeah, no, he's been exactly what they've needed at this time. Especially, I feel like if things really don't work out for them as the season dwindles down and they miss the postseason, I think we can really go back to not just that Texas loss, but Joe Ryan going down with a season-ending injury that I think will be, if things do not work out for the best, that's going to be the moment we point to where everything really just started falling apart for them. And if he was still there, then, the reliance on Pablo wouldn't be so desperate right now, but it's good to be seeing him step up and really refurbish himself to what he was a season ago. But it's still just not a good place to be where you're just hanging your heads low. You got 2 blowout losses to the Reds. You had a great win yesterday, but then just this heart-wrenching, just gut-punching loss here that should have easily been a victory if they even got, one more hit with runners in scoring position. And I think if there's one swing, I wish that could have been taken back. I wish Royce Lewis would have taken that first pitch with the bases loaded and not swung at it. That really was the one thing I would think could have made a difference. Maybe. We don't know. But you can't always just swing at the first pitch, even with 2 outs. Especially with 2 outs.
Yeah, especially with 2 outs. Twins, 2 of 9 tonight with runners in scoring position. Cleveland, 3 of 9 with runners in scoring position. Obviously, you lose by 1 run. Easy to point out a lot of different things like this after the fact, but that definitely feels like that was the turning point in the game for sure. How many more years is Pablo under contract here?
Let's see. I think this is the year 1 of his 4-year extension that kicked in, which they signed at the beginning of
so
last
he ain't going
season.
anywhere. Yeah.
So he's got, we'll see payroll.
Right.
Stuff.
I mean, you never know, but under contract wise,
he's still got 3 years remaining on the deal, and that's where the salary gets hefty. So him, Buxton, and Correa are going to be the top 3 in salary going into next season, and I think Vasquez comes in at number 4, but that's his final year on the books. So. Yeah, you got to hope he sticks around. You got to hope the poll ads have a moment of reflection, but I would not count on that to really expand their pocketbooks and not shrink it. But, they've earned their reputation, to say the least, with their cheapness, and I think we'll leave it at that.
That's putting it mildly. A Rocco report time, game 1 versus Cleveland. The Rocco report, it says what?
I mean, I can't complain about when he put Griffin Jackson because it worked out for the better. It's just maybe you left him a little too long because I saw that. Let's see. Let me make sure I say his last name right. Manzardo kid, when he was in AAA like a month ago, and he was killing it against the Saints pitching. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to do it right here. And just how he pimped everything up, knowing that he's killing the Twins postseason chances. I think I was like, you just become a lot of people's least favorite Guardians player who are Twins fans. So
in a hurry, dude. His stat line, 1 for 3, but 2 runs scored, 2 ribbies, home run, obviously, a backbreaker home run, and a walk as well. Yeah, he feels like the real deal for sure. All right, plenty more deep dive from this one. Plus, got that nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships. Also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors, they got everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to the ultimate peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights. They got it all. And whether you're into speed, power, or style, they got you covered. 122 million parts for your number 1 ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back with all the parts you need at the prices you want. Easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Okay, so I know you mentioned Detroit. I know Boston and Seattle as well. All 3 kind of breathing down the Twins' neck right now for this 6th seed, this last and final spot. They do own the tiebreaker versus Detroit, which could prove to be huge. But just looking at kind of the remaining schedules, which of these 3 teams, I guess, scare you the most, should scare the Twins the most, I guess? Like, who's the most likely, I guess, to catch up and make this a race down to the wire?
Well, Detroit's doing exactly that right now. They were down 4-0 to start the game against the Royals and tonight in Kansas City. Well, they're up 7-6 right now
Man,
in
come on.
the I think it's the top of the 7th.
Mm.
That should scare you alone, just seeing how well they're doing against a divisional opponent that
Right,
should be taking advantage. I mean, you want to be rooting for the Royals in this point, but
right, right.
yeah, I mean, it's great to see the American League Central being at its most competitive in many people's lifetime right now,
Mhm.
since it became a division. But seeing where the Twins are at and all this just man,
Yeah,
it's
the fact that you got 3 with Boston in Boston, just knowing how the Twins are playing right now, oh my gosh, it
mhm.
just feels like, I mean, losing 2 out of 3 is just like the pace that they're on. They're on, really, since they've been decimated by injuries, they've been kind of on this like 70-75 win just pace. And it
Yeah.
just feels like you go into each one of these series now, no matter who it is, Cincinnati, even Los Angeles, whatever it may be, you just feel like losing 2 out of 3 is certainly on the table. So if you do
Oh
that
yeah.
versus Boston, all of a sudden, God forbid you get swept by Boston, all of a sudden, oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
it's over.
Can we just quick check in? Just the top studs in the minors right now. I'm just trying to find some positives here. Walker Jenkins, we talked about these guys 2 weeks ago, but Walker Jenkins, Emmanuel Rodriguez, the Luke Keyshaws, I know he got put on the IR with Tommy John, but whose stock is
Mhm.
pointing up the most, and which guys, do you think could actually be a contributor in 2025? Just kind of quick snapshot, rapid fire.
I mean, Walker Jenkins got up to Double-A since we last talked. Finished the season there. Got a week extra worth of games. He did okay. I mean, it's the hardest
Okay.
adjustment in the minors to go from High A to Double-A, but it was decent turnout for a guy who was just making his debut at that next level and just finishing the season up there. Earlier today, the Saints announced that they have called up Marco Raya, one of the top pitching prospects, but my gripe is they are too conservative with his workload on innings limits. He's only thrown 6 full innings in a start once this year.
Whew.
So I expect him to be used out of the bullpen. Maybe they're keeping him more to send him down to the Arizona Fall League, but also Corey Lewis was going up with him. And that is one of the most premier pitchers in the Twins minor league system
Mm.
because he is the knuckleballer who can throw it up to 88 miles per hour.
Ooh, I love this.
So yeah, Rodriguez, as we now know, is hurt for the season, as I reported that last Thursday, that he re-aggravated the same thumb that had him out for 3 months this summer. So he did okay in his first 7 games in AAA, but I don't think we're going to see much of him until next spring. Hopefully
Sure.
things heal up for him. But yeah, I mean, there's only 1 week of minor league games left, and that's all AAA across the country. So if you want to get out to a Saints game and have a little more hope for the future, now's the time to go do it because I don't know what these next 2 weeks are still going to hold for the Twins, if anything. So yeah, if you want decent baseball where you're not going to live or die on every pitch, but you want to have some hope for what the Twins have coming up the pipeline, go check them out. Marco Raya will, like I said, probably come out of the bullpen. I would expect Corey Lewis to get a start. You still got Andrew Morris down there, who's been pitching decently since he got called up. I know the DFA Randy Dobnak for Cole over him, but no one's going to claim him off waivers with how much money he's making. So he'll be with the team before the season's over. And, Michael Hellman, Deshaun Kersey Jr., I both believe they will be minor league free agents at the end of the season. So if you want to catch a little bit of them, if you didn't catch them when they were up with the Twins, now's the time to do that. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things to look for there. And that's the fortunate thing, covering AAA baseball is, yes, there are playoffs for that now, but with how they're formatted, it's so hard for these teams to get in. And when they're just, playing to develop, it's a little less stress on the players and, less stress on yourself as a writer versus being in this pennant race and seeing everything that can go wrong going wrong as it is for the Twins. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being in at CHS Field the rest of the week from tomorrow till Sunday and hopefully seeing some good baseball for those guys to end the year.
Yeah, going to CHS Field, checking out a St. Paul Saints game. It should be on everybody who lives in Minnesota on their top 5 checklist every summer. It's not too late. Don't need to be a big sports fan to enjoy a night out at CHS
and cheaper.
Field.
And cheaper than
you
the
bring
rest of them.
Bring the wife, bring the lady, bring the kids, whatever it may be. It is a good, fun, quality night of entertainment. That's for sure. But circling back, why I brought up those young guys, because to me, and you're the expert, not me, but to me, it's like I just look at this roster, everything that's kind of unfolded this year. I look at the farm system. I look at the pitching staff. I see a lot of just young, budding, developing talent right now. So to me, if you just go pair that with, honestly, I feel like all it would take is like 1 or 2 good quality free agent pickups next offseason. It feels like you could be the Baltimore Orioles of 2024. What they've done this year, what they've been able to accomplish, bunch of young talent, had a great farm system, guys develop. You go get 1 or 2, not top tier elite blue chip guys, but like 2 really good, really solid names. You find that happy medium, that kind of balance of veteran talent and developing your farm system. And you could be where a team like Baltimore is sitting next year at this time in September. That's how it feels like to me. I'm trying to find the right blueprint, I think, for this upcoming offseason, no matter how it all shakes out these next 2-3 weeks. But, I mean, what do you think? Am I wrong? Would the front office actually open up their wallet for once? I think that's the bigger question.
They did for Carlos Santana, and
Yes,
he's worked out perfectly.
He's been great.
And he's probably going to win a Gold Glove no matter what. But it feels like his season got wasted a little bit because really, when you look at everyone else who they signed, Jay Jackson, bringing in Josh Stallman, all these other guys who are like reconfiguration projects or bursts of late year talent. It was only Santana really. And everyone else was either hurt, fell apart, and it's just been a damn shame, if that nothing else has really worked out here. So yeah, you hope that, maybe if Santana can put up another season like he has this year, even if it's just some slight regression because he's going to be 39, hopefully you can get something out of that and bring him back on the same amount of money. And then, get another guy in there who can really bounce things out. Because, Kyle Farmer was definitely that guy last season. He's been picking it up during these last 10 games. He's on this 10-game hit streak, which is phenomenal. But again, it's in one of those things where it feels too little too late. But yeah, you're going to need someone to fill in that role Kyle Farmer has. And I know they're not going to bring him back at what he's been making this season, which I believe is $6.5 million. Okay. So, I mean, there's openings. So you got to find someone in addition to hopefully bringing Santana back, because it's no disrespect to Julian or Jose Miranda, but they're just not the same caliber defender.
Yeah.
Santana's at that position, and they're going to transition into probably a full-time first baseman with how their season's been going, but it would be a great help to have Santana back one more year just to see how things can really stabilize themselves.
Yeah. Well said. Good breakdown there. A nerdy stat of the daytime. You got any crazy stat or, fun analytic Twins related? What do you got tonight?
Well, this comes courtesy of Dustin Morse, who had to put up the nice stats on Kyle Farmer's hit streak before things really took a turn for the worse in this game. But I mean, I think we got to give credit for Farmer with how he's been injured earlier this season. He's hitting .480 right now, 12 for 25 with a 1420 OPS in the last 10 games. So,
wow.
I mean, he's getting hot at the right time, but unfortunately, it's got its shortcomings.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes sense. That's a good one. As always, don't go anywhere. We got to look at these wild card, these playoff standings. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season still in full swing here. So whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less, add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, game 2 tomorrow, Zebby on the mound. What's the scouting report there? And then just bigger picture, Cleveland, Twins, head-to-head. They're obviously, Cleveland's had their number this year. You kind of called that out earlier. What's got to look different this time around to go take 3 out of 4 by, I don't know, even split at this point, I guess? You lost your Pablo outing. But what do they got to do different that they didn't do earlier in the year?
Hit the ball. See ball, hit ball. Simple as that.
That's it, man. That's it. That's where we're at. Okay. Playoff picture. I mean, almost zero chance of winning the division now at this point, even before this loss. Again, as of today, 6th seed, you'd go to Houston in round 1. How fluid is that 1, 2, 3 seeding kind of at the top? And what are the odds that Houston series could it turn into like the Yankees or Baltimore, I guess, when it's all said and done?
Oh, very unlikely because
Okay.
both Cleveland and the Yankees are 6 games up on Houston right now in terms of just having one of those bye round switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking like whoever gets that final wild card spot is going to have to be going to Houston at this point. So, I mean, I wrote about how that's going to be a lot more favorable for the Twins than the Yankees or Cleveland, especially with how
Well, give
this
us
game went.
a quick snapshot. Why is that more favorable? Just give us the quick 2-3 bullet points why we'd rather go to Houston than somewhere like New York. Outside of the obvious, it's New York.
I mean, yeah, outside of the obvious, they got swept for their season series against the Yankees this year, 0-6. Their offense has been tearing things up. Their pitching staff is, not doing as great as it has in previous years, but it's still dominant, and their bullpen is a lot stronger outside of Clay Holmes. And, with the Guardians, what have we been recapping today? Need I say more?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they have won 4 out of 6 against Houston this season. The Astros are, they've rejuvenated themselves. They look like they were finally going to have their dynasty collapse, at the beginning of this season, but they've stayed alive and they're going to get it back to the postseason. And they're going to go for their 8th straight American League Championship appearance. And I know a lot of people would like it if they don't make it to that many in a row.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be the case. But I mean, with how the Twins are playing, and even one day off between the last game of the regular season and going into Houston, that's only going to do so much for them. So, yeah, it's just so hard to say.
It's tough, man. We had so much fun earlier in the year. They went on that 12-game win streak. There's been a lot of fun highs, obviously, a lot of low lows as well. Hence, what you get with every 162 baseball game season. But yeah, things just looking bleak lately, man. It's just tough to find any positives or silver linings with this Twins team right now. And that's when you consider they're probably still going to make the playoffs, or at least, 50-50, maybe a little bit more than 50. Is there actual odds? Do you have them just top of your head? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No.
What are the odds still of them actually just still holding on to this 6th seed? Because it feels like it's actually better statistically on paper than what it feels like right now.
Oh, I don't look into that sort of stuff. Ethically speaking, I just do not look into it with how it's everywhere and trying to push stuff. And I know we read a lot of gambling ads on this very show, but it's something I try to avoid. And I just, watch what I see on the field and not try to put any statistical numbers, except, how many games behind the Tigers are. And if they win tonight, they're going to be a game and a half behind. So take your odds out of that.
Right. Game and a half behind, 12 games to go. Twins blow another late inning lead. They lose game 1, 4-3. 3 more with Cleveland. You got 12 games left on the year. Zebby on the mound tomorrow. First pitch, 5:40. Huge shout out to all the everydayers, by the way, that always make us your first listen. Rest assured, we'll be back each and every game right here, breaking it all down. Got to go check out all Theo's work, by the way, on X. Give him a follow at Theodore Tollefson, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at Zone Coverage MN as well. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. We'll see you next time. But until then, signing out.